Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamac.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Sheila Mac. Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show. And today we have special guest, Dr. Terri Levine, and she has over 30 best-selling books, and she is also my favorite heart-led Heartrepreneur business leader and consultant. So welcome, Dr. Terri. She is going to share with us today about how to go from wanting to die back to excitement. So tell us more about that.
Well, first, it's great to be with you, Sheila. Thanks for having me. So my story is, I always considered myself a very positive person. I've worked on myself since I'm 15 years old, and my life was rolling like 16 years ago. I remember to the day I was feeling great. I was driving to my personal trainer and thought, gosh, I have such a blessed life. It's just so wonderful. It's so perfect. And I was working out, and I tore my Achilles, which shouldn't have been such a big deal, and yet it was. So when I tore my Achilles, I waited in the hospital for 3 hours until they were able to see me, and I went into shock. And as soon as I went into shock, they finally saw me. And for whatever reason, I started screaming and screaming from the pain and screaming from the pain. And the long story is, or the short story, that I ended up with a neurological disease called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which comes from an orthopedic injury. And unfortunately, I got it. And so for 18 months of my life, I was unable to move or to walk. I was unable to wear clothes or to function. I was on 29 medications, plus ketamine infusions, and that's elephant tranquilizer. So I was hallucinating all the time. It was horrible. And it came to the day where I said, I can't do this anymore. Even though I'm mentally and physically strong, the amount of pain is too much. And so I decided to take my life. I never thought I would do that in a million years. And I decided that I would write a suicide note to explain to my husband my why. And lo and behold, about an hour and a half after I typed what I thought was a suicide note, I read it, and I wrote a book called Magnetize. And then I kind of opened my eyes and said, okay, I'm not supposed to go. And I don't know what led me to go online and to start researching this disease, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. And I found that there were kids with this disease. And I said, gosh, Terri, stop having a pity party. Look outside yourself. Use your voice. Use the fact that you're an author, that you're a speaker and an influencer, and raise funds and help kids who need help getting out of this pain. That's my short and long story, Sheila.
That's really beautiful. It's interesting. I'm not sure why we have feedback, but my mic.
Yeah, I don't
try this.
I don't hear it on my end. My end sounds good.
Is it okay? All right. So how is this?
Much
Is this
better.
okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So it's the mic. It has an issue, and we're going to return. Interesting. Even my mic, it's like sometimes we have to have a new start. It sounds like it was a new start in your life where you shifted priorities, and my mic had to show that to everyone. It's like, see how that happens where, like this year, I think it's so important to have stories like this on here because this year people feel like giving up for various reasons, health reasons or other reasons. And what type of advice can you give to listeners that are feeling like there isn't hope right now?
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, I have a lot of friends and family in that situation. So first, just understand you're not alone. Okay, sometimes we think we're the only one going through something, so you're not alone. Second, think outside of yourself. Think about other things outside of whatever you're experiencing. So I use a little process called GID. Can I share that? Because it's really helped me. Yeah, okay. All right, so GID is G stands for gratitude. So no matter what is happening in your life right now, stop and give gratitude even for the smallest things. Maybe you have heat or air conditioning or water or comfortable bed. Stop and give gratitude. And this is a practice to do every single day. The I in GID stands for intentions. Instead of a to-do list, set some intentions on how you choose to feel and experience your day. So if you say to yourself, I want to feel more joy, I want to feel more peace, and you set that intention, that will help you consciously make that choice. And D, GID, D is for delegations. And I don't mean go delegate something to an assistant or to a teammate. Delegate the how to the universe. Look, we don't exactly know the how of how is this pandemic going away. How I delegate that to the universe. I say, I don't quite understand any of this. And I know that you do. So figure it out. Keep us well, keep us healthy, keep us functional, and delegate it every day. GID. I will tell you, it makes a difference. It's transformed people's lives, and it's a simple process.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so true. Last December in 2019, I lost my youngest son to a heart condition. And it really hit us all, especially the sister who's closest to him, and of course myself. And I mean, I had to force that gratitude the first few days. And I knew as a mom, having my kids back home and us together, healing through that process, the grieving process, I was like, what's 3 things you're grateful for? I want to hear it. And we'd go around the room and we would do that gratitude process. And it really did help us. It doesn't change the situation, but it changes the energy of how we're dealing with it and how we get to the other side of it faster. It really does.
It does. And this may sound odd to people. I still have RSD. It doesn't go away and there is no cure. However, it may sound really strange. I now look at it as a blessing, as something I'm grateful for. Why was I given this? Well, I can raise funds for kids. I have a following. I have a voice. I have money. Thank you for choosing me. And that may sound strange to anyone listening, and it really is true. And I didn't get there overnight. I want people to know that. It takes work and it takes the decision to really think outside of myself. And again, that process of gratitude. I remember, I was on the journey with you when you lost your son, and I saw you posting photos with your family and with your kids. And I knew that you were breathing into finding your way out. And that's what I offer to everyone is when you're in it, you may not see how to get out, and gratitude helps you get out.
Yes, it's an incredible gift. And, it's the more you use that gratitude muscle, the stronger you get in other areas of your life. So now I know I'm one of your Heartrepreneur people, and I love your program. So do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing to help businesses stay heart focused this year?
Yeah, and particularly this year now more than ever. So many years ago, I created and founded Heartrepreneur, and I really founded it to disrupt how business is being done. In my experience, everything was a transaction. Oh, let me go get a client or a patient or a customer, and then let me go get the next one. And no one was really taking good care of their prospects, of their customers, of their vendors, of their team, of their employees. It became a very transactional world. So I started Heartrepreneur, business consulting, to really teach people how to do business in a totally different way without a lot of marketing and selling, just giving value, natural conversations, and people were expanding their businesses dramatically. They were making more money, they had more time freedom, they had real relationships and felt more valuable. Well, during this pandemic, we've been focused on this Heartrepreneur cause even more. There's about 5,100 people that are part of our community, Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine, over on Facebook. It's our community. Anyone can feel free to join. We'd love to have you there. And what we do is we really help you see how to do business and life differently. More time freedom, more money freedom, and do business in a way that's easy, effortless, joyful, and fun.
That's great. Yes, and it's so true. I really resonated with that because I was like, that's what I'm looking for, is people first. That's really all that matters. When you're able to have one of your books and one of your things, or when I do my things, if it goes and it helps just one person, that's made my day. That's made it all worthwhile, and it makes all the difference. So I'm so grateful that you made that switch years ago when you first got that diagnosis, and that you're here and you've helped so many people. And that's the thing. I think sometimes we feel like this year is never going to end. I'm sure we all feel like, come on, 2020, we're done. But there will be the other side to this. So what we're doing now as business leaders, if you're working and you're on a team, you are the leader with the energy that you're bringing to your team, to your coworkers, to the environment you're in. If you're now working from home and you have children and they're still home with you because of the school regulations where you live, the energy that you bring as the leader of your home and your business is going to shift the energy your children have, your coworkers, your employees, your clients. They feel that. And that's going to make a huge difference this year. More than ever, we need to step up and really show what we're made of. And unfortunately, we've seen other people be very emotional. How do you deal, Terri, with those people that are on the negative, to switch it around?
It's so interesting that you asked that. Yeah, it's interesting because I posted on my personal page on Facebook today about that. And I'm getting a lot of interesting comments. So here's the way I'm treating it. People seem very opinionated nowadays. People seem very strong about what they believe, whether it's political or it's about wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, my freedoms, my rights. I stand here now. I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. I've stopped trying to convince anyone to believe what I believe. What I believe is right for me, what you believe is right for you. As long as we are really keeping mindful of humanity and the greater good, I don't care what someone believes, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone and it's not harmful to humanity. So the piece that I urge, and I say to my client family members all the time, is just exit anything that's toxic, especially nowadays. Focus on bringing more things into your experience that lift you up, that empower you, whether it be music or family or friends. And I know sometimes we can't see and hug each other right now. Zoom, we see facial expressions and eyes. Do whatever you can to be uplifted. Tune into things that are uplifting, podcasts, etc. It's really time for you to take control of your own emotions. And can I share just a little bit of a process we're about to break?
Yes, beautiful.
Thanks. So, last November 2019, my book came out. That is my autobiography. That whole story is in there. And it's called About to Break: The Path to True Forgiveness. And in my book, I share my story very transparently. And in addition, I teach literally the path to true forgiveness, what it is that you do. And the first thing that I can tell you is before you can forgive other people or the world experience or whatever's happening, you must start by forgiving yourself. So take a moment today, look in the mirror, look right into your eyes, and just say these words: I forgive you. For anything that has happened in your life that you've done, said, forgive yourself, love yourself. We're having a human experience. You don't need to be perfect.
Yes, and I have that book. And do you have a new book coming out soon? Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I did something really unusual, right? I've written so many books, and I was introduced to a crowdfunding platform for a book. I've never done that before. And when the pandemic started, we had over 600 business owners raising their hands, asking for help. And I'm like, oh, we can't take on 600 people. So I wrote my exact conversion equation formula, how it is we get tons of prospects, how it is that they convert to sales without us selling, and how we not only make a lot of money, we really help other people and we have time freedom. I decided to write it. So I wrote it into a book and I crowdfunded it, which I've never done. We sold 600 books, exactly 600 in 4 weeks. And that book now, I'm in negotiations with 4 different traditional publishers. I believe I will select the one I'm going with on Monday. We're negotiating the advances. And the book should be out in about 8 weeks, and it will be called Conversion Equation.
Wonderful. Wow, we'll share about that when it comes out here. That's great.
Thank you. Yay.
Yes. So now let's think about this. So you're writing books. I think people that are doing traditional jobs now are going to their passions. That's the beauty of this universal pause is, okay, now I'm going to write that book. Now I'm going to do the podcast or somehow connect or do business, share my talents. Do you have any suggestions for people getting started in something new like that?
Yeah, really. You know, first of all, you said something so important. Believe it or not, there is a blessing in all this craziness, right? There, if we really look at the whole pandemic world, there are some things that are amazing and awesome, and we're having more free time. A gentleman told me today he's slept more hours than he's ever slept. He's been with his kids more than he's been because they're home from college. So focus on the good things, right? The second thing is I really recommend that you make a list and do it with a pen and a piece of paper, because when you keyboard, you only use one hemisphere of the brain. And when you write, you use both and you're more creative. Make a list of everything you've been passionate about decade by decade. For some of us, it's more decades. So when I was like 0 to 10, I loved pretend and Barbie dolls and dress up. Write all that down. Then what did you do from 10 to 20, 20 to 30, et cetera, et cetera. And then go back and look for themes. So let me just give an example. I've been now in the coaching and consulting field for about 26 years, and I was in other fields prior to that. And I finally decided years ago, I am done just doing work that doesn't have meaning. So I asked myself, what's my passion? And I did this exercise decade by decade. And what showed up for me is that I loved helping people, motivating people, and I also loved creating. And I was really good at creating businesses. It became really clear, really evident how to take my passion. And then if you need help turning that into profits, turn to someone like me or another mentor or business advisor, strategist who can help you do that. It's actually a great time to start a business. So don't let your passion sit there. It's time to do something with your passion.
Yes, and I think that it's really important to also be okay with doing what you need to do to get your needs met. Don't just spend all your money on a new business. You know, go in with some wisdom and slowly. But the beauty is that gives you time to really create what's right. And everything does show up in perfect time. And exactly when people are ready to hear your message or your music, see your talents. So it will unfold in perfect time if you just give it a decent amount, even if it's a couple hours a day. You'll start to build an incredible business in a safe and healthy way this year.
I love
So
that advice.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is now. What is the new message that you have for moms and people that are, or people in a relationship, even dealing with now? You have maybe your spouse home, and you're working from home, and you don't get to go out as much, so you don't have that "I can't wait to see you again." You're like, okay, could you please leave this room? Is there any advice? It sounds like you've been married a long time. You have a beautiful relationship. I love that. And so do you have any advice to people dealing with this change in how we do business and at home and how we have relationships?
What a great question. Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is, have a little bit of patience, right? Because it is unusual. I've never worked from home with my husband. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, there's somebody else here. I want my privacy. And I think he felt the same way. And so what I recommend that you do is first look at what boundaries you personally need. How much free time do you need? How much quiet do you need? And the second thing is to then communicate that, right? So after we're adapting to being together at home, we both realized that we needed some space. And so we honored that. I need my quiet time. He needs his quiet time. Honor that, and then ask for what you want. It's all about communicating with heart. So, for example, I said to my husband, Mark, I actually love that you're working at home. Like, I've never gotten to see you this much. It's fantastic. What I would like is for you not to come in my office, because sometimes I'm on a show and, you're wandering around, and I will honor that you're in another office, the other part of the house. I will honor that. If you need me, text me, and if I'm available, I'll be there. So it was my first. And my second was, I would love to have lunch with you every single day. So let's schedule a lunchtime. So ask for what you need. And if you need some additional downtime for yourself, take that time. Even if there's other people in your home, you need a rest, you need some quiet, you need to meditate, do what you need to do, because you have to take care of yourself first.
Yes, and I love that. Ask for help when you need it this year, especially.
Yes.
That's a good slogan, whether it's even with your children or your spouse, your significant other, your loved ones, or just reaching out to a friend. I can't imagine anybody not wanting to talk. If somebody called and said, hey, I need to talk to someone right now, I would definitely make myself available. And I think that sometimes people are afraid to say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling like I just talk to someone. I need some support. Okay.
Yeah. Ask for what you need. Reach your hand out. For some reason, we broke up a little bit here. So ask for what you need. Put your hand out, and don't be afraid to ask for what you need. People do pitch in. I hope we didn't lose Sheila. I'm not sure how we're doing here, but I'm still here, and I don't see Sheila or hear Sheila anymore. All right, so we're going to assume that everybody else is still here. And I think we've lost our amazing host. So we'll give it another minute, see if she comes back. And I'll just finish with my message really is that you have excitement within you. You have something amazing. There's no reason that you were created if not to offer the world something amazing. Don't give up hope. Ask for what you need. People care. You matter. And if there's anything I said today that's useful, or you want to connect more, the best place to connect is I have a very active community of Heartrepreneurs, and I would invite you in there. Sheila's also in there. And that's on Facebook, Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine. She's back! She's back. Yay.
I found out I was on the wrong internet channel. I have a a special studio. But what does that mean? There's always a meaning to everything. So sometimes we may just be on the wrong channel. And that's okay. So what do we need to listen for or look for to align? So aligning with heart-centered business leaders out there is very important. Aligning with people that go with your core values, life purpose, and mission is such an important thing. Your peer group is everything. So make sure that you go toward the positive and don't focus on anything that's negative, because that will bring you to the next level in your business and life. So do you want to, I know you were sharing a little bit, and I thank you for continuing on in the show. Yes. So I know we're coming to the half hour here. So what do you want to share about as you say goodbye to our audience? And I hope to have you back when your new book comes out to share about that.
So I was sharing as we lost you, I really do invite every listener to come join us on the Facebook group Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine. We have about 5,100 people. You're not alone. There's a community of like-minded people, and whether it's business help, life help, relationship health, there's just everyone in there helping one another, heart to heart. And if you're a person who needs any kind of help and you're open and you're curious, come join our community. Let's be stronger together.
Yes. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it, Terri.
Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and before we get started with today's show, I'd like to share with you a special thank you and shout out to Growth Manifesto Podcast, our sponsor for today. And I want to share just a little bit more about Growth Manifesto Podcast. It is one of Australia's leading business, marketing, tech, and entrepreneurship podcasts. They help their audience of entrepreneurs, business leaders, and those aspiring for personal and professional growth by bringing some of the most accomplished people in their fields to appear on the show and share the thinking and methodology that drove their own success. So at the Growth Manifesto Podcast, they've interviewed people such as Seth Godin, Jay Abraham, Liz Wiseman, Vern Harnish, Jordan Belford, Bev Burgess, Roger Martin, and Tim Draper, to name a few. I took a listen to their recent episode with one of my favorite mentors, Jay Abraham. And if you don't know about Jay, he is the CEO and founder of the Jay Abraham Group, and Jay is a marketing legend that has helped more than 10,000 clients in more than 1,000 industries solve complex problems and drive significant growth through a different way of thinking. His clients include people like Tony Robbins and many more. So if you are a like-minded business leader looking for growth, then tune in to Growth Manifesto Podcast. You can subscribe to them on Apple Podcasts, and also they have a YouTube channel to subscribe to, or go to their website at www.growthmanifestopodcast.com. All right, and now it's time for the show.
Business leader reboot tips for today. When hiring new staff, there's a great way to save time on retraining, and that is to video record your training. So when you have a new hire and you go through the procedures manual and you sign all your documents, do a video training. They're never going to read the procedures manual. They don't have time. And if you want to train them right and you're training them yourself, or making sure that that video is exactly what you want, because if you ask other people that are working already in your field for you, they may have changed those rules or changed the way they do business for you. And so to rehire or train new people, it's great to have that video, and also as a retraining video whenever people start to change the way things are done because the rules got confused. Think about the game telephone. When you start off in the circle, it's one thing, and by the end, the information is changed slightly, and it really changes what you want. So as a business leader, having that video recording is going to make all the difference. Parenting tips for today. Okay, your parenting tip for today is this. Okay, if you are a busy mom and you don't have time to keep up with everything right now, because now you're homeschooling in some states or provinces, or you are dealing with working from home and managing your home, the best way to get help is to hire out what you can. So for me, raising 6 kids, I ended up hiring cleaning people to just help me with the major cleaning. Sometimes it was once or twice a month where we would just do deep clean the kitchen, deep clean the bathrooms, and then all the kids had some helping chores, and we all worked together as a family to get the rest done. But it was just enough to maintain the home without burning me out. And I was running 5 businesses at the time when I was raising my 6 kids. So that is something that can save you a lot. And sometimes it's a trade where you can trade a day with someone else or clean together at each other's homes. So that's another fun tip. All right.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. So if life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamac.com today.
We're back from halftime here on the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. And now we are ready to give this week's situation the boot and help you get back into action. So if you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps or the bra straps, take a listen now.
Welcome back to the Sheila Mac Show. I'm Sheila, your host, and today we had special guest Dr. Terri Levine of Heartrepreneurs, a serial author and someone who has rebooted after hitting a rock bottom with a serious health situation and getting back into even more excitement, where now she is living in contribution, helping children with RHS disease, and also helping business leaders to lead heart-centered, heartfelt, Heartrepreneur style businesses. So now, one of the things that happened is we want to run this through the Boots formula. And before we get to that, I want to share a little bit about my own situation, where years ago, I also went through a health challenge where I was told I could lose my life. So I was very young, and I found out that I had a terrible kidney infection somehow, and that was causing my blood to be poisoned. And at that same time, I also found out that I was pregnant with my first child. And it was an interesting situation because everybody left me at the hospital and never came back. Days went by and nobody even came to visit me as far as the baby's daddy or any of that. And so I had to decide for myself. First of all, I fought with the doctors because they wanted to terminate the pregnancy, and they said there was no hope. And I was yelling at these 5 older male doctors at the Women's County Hospital in California. And this intern walked by, a lady, and she was studying medicine. And she said, well, what about this new drug? It was Cipro or Cipro. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And so they said, all right, we will try that and see. And that saved me. But I really feel like it went beyond that to my thinking and mindset, because, I kind of felt pretty bad being all alone in the hospital. And this year, it kind of mirrors what I experienced in a way, because a lot of people have to go to the hospital all alone during the COVID challenge this year. And it's very hard to not be with your loved ones when they aren't feeling well. Thank goodness we have ways to connect via phone and social media still in some instances. Yet I did get to experience that. And I did feel very challenged and alone and scared as this young mother to be who could have lost her life. And, that night things got better. The medication worked. The next morning I was feeling better, although I was in the hospital for close to 3 months because it was very, very touch and go with this pregnancy. And the infection. So I was there and I ended up borrowing robes. They gave me extra robes, and I'm walking around with my IV drip, and, they're very understaffed, at least back then. And so they had given me permission to give waters out to the patients. And so on the entire floor, I would hand out waters and check their chart. They showed me how to do this. This is crazy back then. And they sometimes they could get juice, but if they had sugar issues, that it'd have a note. And I got to meet all the other patients who were also alone. And I realized that when I was in contribution, I was thankful for making it through the night and being alive. And then I realized, instead of being alone and feeling sorry for myself, I went out and started helping other people in contribution. And it shifted how I got through that hospital stay that year, or the 3 months. And so that made a big difference. And I knew mentally that I needed to get out of my own pity party and help other people. And I started making friends, and I wasn't alone anymore in the hospital. So that's what happened for me. So it's that moment where you could say, hey, everybody walked out on me. I'm all alone. Nobody's checked on me. And, I have to sit there and be lonely, or decide to go make friends. And now, you can make friends and connect with your loved ones, friends, or new people, even through social media and the phone. So there are many ways to get back on track, even through a tough health situation. And Dr. Terri shared about how she was diagnosed with this RHS and found out that young children have it and suffer greatly. So she's a great contributor to that organization to help these young children to get resources and help they need to heal through that. So in contribution, it seems like that tends to help us with our mindset. So let's put this through the Boots formula. So in the Boots formula, the first part of the formula is B for being. It's about who you're being and all you're doing, and who you need to be during this situation. So at that time, I had to be really strong and make a choice as this young girl in a hospital to be loving, to be kind, and to get out of my own situation and help others. I knew that love energy was part of my own healing process, and something I wanted my unborn baby to also experience. And then it was the order. The next is O for order of operations in the Boots formula. And so that was me having to kind of sit there and say, hey, wait a minute, nobody showed up, and this is what it is. It's not better than it is. It's not worse than it is. Obviously, I had friends, but they were, also very young and not quite where I was at. So, they were still in school and having parties and this and that. I was about 18 at the time. And so I couldn't really rely on them. And I think this year we all kind of have that, where there's certain people that aren't really available for us and we need to connect. So ask for help where you need it, and also connect to others who may need to hear from you. So that was my order of operations. Is okay, it's not better than it is or worse than it is. This is what it is. And then I decided the action steps I was going to take to connect to people where I was at. All the nurses and doctors loved me. They probably kept me extra long just because I was so involved and brought good energy to the whole floor. So the next O in the Boots formula is for order of operations. So that's the order in which we do things. First thing I had to do was get myself back on track. And, I fought for figuring something out. And because of that, I was able to get help and get through that and not have a worse situation. So that was the order in which I did things. And as I was able to, the doctor approved of me to walk around with I literally was dragging the IV with me on the floor, greeting other patients. And I thought, wow, that's an order in which we do things. And that healed me. Just connecting with other people for me was part of my mental healing. While I was in this hospital, instead of it being a dark place, it became a bright place. And it was just part of, this is where I'm placed for this reason. And maybe there's some patients here that I need to connect to. And so that made a big difference. And the next thing was the T in the Boots formula is for thinking. That's the mindset. The mindset of, am I going to stay in this bed and feel bad that nobody ever visited me or checked to see if I lived or died that night? Or am I going to just decide that, hey, I'm going to give loving energy to this unborn child at the time, and also to all the patients and doctors and nurses on the floor. And that was the thinking that I think really got me through that very difficult 3 months of being isolated in the hospital. And it kind of again mirrors what we're going on this year, where we had a few months, depending on where you live on the planet, of really being stuck and locked in isolation in our homes. And so, I had practice. and so it's deciding how you're going to show up, and your mindset is going to really make a difference this year. How do we reboot 2020 is how you show up as a parent, as an employee, as the leader of your team or business. That energy is going to affect everybody that you come in contact with. And I think we need to be even more grounded and positive in our thinking right now, because people are scared, they're in fear, they're lashing out. I mean, my daughter had her tax person literally yell at her and say, fix it yourself. And she paid for her taxes to be done. And she was like, wow, what is this? I've never heard of this. And, and I was like, you know what? It's this year. And it has nothing to do with my daughter or me or the tax lady even. She just kind of lost it. And it's just interesting how you'll see this show up even on social media as people take sides. And there really is no sides in the round world. That was something that Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say all the time. And so there really isn't sides in our round world. There's all people trying to get to safety and to the right place during this time, and they're going about it in different ways. And so the last letter in the Boots formula is the S, and that's for stepping up. That's the moment where Dr. Terri talked about, she decided, instead of, she was literally considering taking her own life. And when she wrote out this suicide note, she decided to write a book to help people instead. And then she stepped into helping children with RHS instead of staying in bed and just feeling sorry for herself or giving up. And that shifted everything. So it's stepping up. She had to take action. And for me, I had to step up and borrow a funny looking robe. Think about when you were 18 years old and how, style and fashion matters. And it was like this old used robe that they gave me. I'm sure it was clean. And every day I'd go help the other patients and talk to the nurses and doctors. And so that was stepping into whatever showed up in my life at that time. Things were very undecided and uncertain for me. Was I even going to keep my little garage apartment back then, going to school and working and everything. And so just like now, things kind of mirror themselves. And so think about times in your life other than this year where you've had a rock bottom situation of one situation or another, and how you showed up in order to shift that and get into a new place in your business or personal life. And that person, call that person in, call those energies and talents into this year to get back on track. That is the Boots formula. And I hope that helps you this week. For whoever's listening who may be going through a health issue or going through another situation due to this crazy year, stay tuned and stick with it, because things are going to get better. And just start taking small action steps, because that action alone is going to get you moving back into the right direction. So I hope this helps. Now, next week, we are going to hear from Australia and my incredible media queen friend. She is a former newscaster. She has written many best-selling books, and she is known as the media queen. She will be sharing about a time in her own life where she was struggling with depression, and she also had some suicidal thoughts, and now she was able to switch that around. That was her rock bottom. And she was able to switch that around and get back on track, take action. And now she's helping other people to share their message as the media queen. And she is also doing a lot to help animals. And so she has a whole foundation and program to help animals get help. And she has her own new news station, which is the Good News, that she's sharing to bring good news, good articles, good information, and happy news to our energy this year. So I look forward to interviewing her next week and having her on the show. And until then, thank you for tuning in to the Sheila Mac Show, where you are going to learn how to rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your life on your terms this year. Until then, I look forward to seeing you, and I wish you life, love, laughter, and light.
You need a guide to show you how we get through a situation like this, to give you resources, and to help you get out of the emotional pea soup fog of dealing with a crisis and the resulting fallout. I've been there, and I'm here to help you. Out of the fog. If you weren't emotionally bound up in your situation, you would have more clarity. You would be able to see your best options for dealing with whatever comes up. If the version of yourself who has already walked through this rock bottom and come out the other end could go back in time and give you, the you right now, some advice, what would she say? Would she tell you to slow down, to stop rushing, that you don't have to have all the answers today? Would the future you recommend not making any major decisions without reviewing them first, particularly while you're still in the fog? Would she tell you that normal is going to look different for a while, but that you will feel normal again? In case we haven't invented time travel by the time you read this book, I'm here to tell you all of the above. I developed the Boots formula to help you learn to make choices, have a life shift, and make great things happen based on your individual values and best life vision. A change is going to happen, and it's worth it. There's a stage where it feels like everyone in your life is picking at you. Life itself may seem like it's trying its best to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. All you hear is, "That's a stupid idea," and "That's never going to work," and "Who do you think you are?" One of the hardest things for people to do is to realign and possibly walk away from anything and anyone that conflicts with their value systems. But you are going to discover that power within yourself. Through the activities and examples in this book, you will discover your true north and will be able to easily do what is needed to move forward with your life. Anything that hurts you, that doesn't resonate for you, that fights against what you want and believe in, you are going to give it the boot. Once you have turned your rock bottom moment into a positive, beautiful life shift, you can live your life on your terms. Your life will probably look different,
but you get to design it this time. You are taking your life back, and you are in charge, not anybody else. Sooner than you can imagine, you'll be in the career of your dreams or the relationship you always wanted. Because you are going to learn to develop healthy boundaries. Because you are going to do things differently along the way from here to there. You will begin to attract the people, the job, the place to live, all of the opportunities that align with who you are, your essence, your truth, not anybody else's or even society's expectations of the way you're supposed to be. Once you have accepted that you are in charge of living your life and you begin to embody living your truth, people are going to see you. They're going to be inspired by you. Then you're going to hear, "Hey, can you show me how you did that? I want to do it too." When you assess your peer group and up-level according to your life purpose and vision, and once you have created a life shift for yourself, whatever that looks like, your life is not just full, it's fulfilled. Not only do you get more and better sleep, you wake up feeling rested and happy. You know that you're doing what you need to do. Yes, sometimes your heart will call you to leave certain friends or family members in order to find a more aligned peer group. From what I've seen, however, the ones who leave always return to lead their family and friends to success. Because your friends are more in alignment with your beliefs and value system, they support you while also pushing you toward your personal best. Life still involves work, but as a whole, it feels far more effortless. But you don't have to wait for the right person, right job, or right investment opportunity to show up. You can start living now so that every moment as you go forward through the process of recovering from rock bottom and redesigning your life is one more step to being the best version of you, the one who came.
All right, if you are looking to reinvent life on your terms, if you are grieving, experiencing financial turmoil, career shifts, relationship problems, parenting, elder care, victims of abuse, breaking free from an addiction, or seeking an overall business and lifestyle redesign, then you may need a reboot. It is not
Size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation.
If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mac Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today I have a couple of announcements. First, I would like to hear from you. That's right. I would love to hear from you, to be honest. I want to know what your breakthrough is, what your reboot is. How are you reinventing and rebooting your life? What shows would you like to hear more of? What information do you need to help you get back on track this year? And to do that, the best way to connect with me is actually through my new YouTube channel, and that is Sheila Mac Show on YouTube. And there you can see past recordings, and you can also see other information and shares that I have. And I would love for you to share in the comments there what you're needing more of and what you're rebooting this year and how we can help you get back on track.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamac.com today.
I have to let you know something, just between you and me. This book is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation.
Thank you for tuning in to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest, where we share real situations with real solutions to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac. I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, to learn the formula to go from rock bottom and back into action in any situation. If you have a burning question for the show, send it in to www.dearsheila.com. Tune in again Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.